This is Adam Gorney, joined by John Garcia Jr. for Rivals on a big day for 2026 quarterbacks. It continues to stay busy in the class. Dia Bell comes off the board to Texas. John, break this one down a little bit because he was just at Miami. Florida State was very involved. LSU was involved, a lot of schools. And then all of a sudden on Monday afternoon, he pops for the Longhorns.
Yeah, I think, when a prospect has the resources that Dia Bell has, he could take a ton of trips. I don't think there's a quarterback who's seen more schools than he has. And it obviously leads to a lot of schools feeling pretty good about where they stand. But if you talk to Dia, he said, hey, this was the plan all along. Texas, a couple years ago, just like he tweeted, had him on campus early, one of his first scholarship offers. And since then, the bond between him and Steve Sarkisian has picked up. His coach at American Heritage, Mike Smith, just told me that Sark and company really never let up. That development is something that obviously has sold really well at the next level. And we're seeing that basically every single cycle now with the Longhorns. I think for Dia, it was always going to be a national deal. He went up to Penn State. They felt good too. He went up to even like BYU. I mean, he went everywhere before making this decision. But Texas got him back on campus, I believe June 1st was the last time. And really from that point, behind closed doors, the Longhorns were starting to separate themselves. And again, they get a QB recruitment wrapped up very early in the process, and obviously a pretty high profile one in Dia Bell.
What's interesting here is that Florida obviously is arguably the best state for high school football talent. It's not always the case at quarterback. Over the years, there have not been many five stars coming out of that state at quarterback for one reason or another. This year is loaded, though, in 2026. We have Dia Bell, Noah Grubbs, Brady Hart, Darian Coleman. I'm naming all these names, but there's a decent to pretty good chance that none of them end up in state. Do you see it happening that way, or can UCF come in on Coleman? Where do things stand, especially with Hart and Coleman maybe coming off the board soon?
Yeah, Coleman just got offered by Miami on Sunday for the second year in a row. His 7-on-7 team at Jones High School won the Miami Passing League championship. So Miami pulled the trigger with that offer. So maybe they can counter Oklahoma, which has been the favorite for Coleman really for like a year at this point. So perhaps Miami can slow him down just a little bit. UCF, as you mentioned, is the local school. They certainly would love to get Coleman on the commitment list, although I think that would be a very big upset at this point. Brady Hart, TBD. It seems like his recruitment has shifted so much over the last few months. No doubt the Clemson offer a week ago is something that is at the forefront of his mind. But then after that, he was up at Michigan and loved it. He's at Ohio State as we record this. And then there's some schools closer to home that he's really liking. He mentioned LSU for a long time. Miami is a school in state. If he does stay home, that feels pretty good about his recruitment right now. So I think the speed of that one could be pretty telling. If you're a Miami fan, if you're an LSU fan, you probably want him to wait a little bit longer. But the sooner he decides, maybe looking at the Big Ten powers or certainly the Clemson Tigers in that race.
Yeah, there are a lot of 2026 off the board already, but this could be a really interesting class for this because it seems even faster than normal. Jared Curtis to Georgia, although he told me that Chip Kelly at Ohio State was the first one to reach out to him at midnight on June 15th when coaches could talk. Noah Grubbs looks totally locked in there, but a lot of other guys still on the board. Brady Smigel leads the way, the five-star uncommitted right now. It looks like Florida State is actually the school that he likes the most, along with Michigan. We've talked about Brady Hart. Jaden O'Neal is going to be an interesting one because even as he's toured the country here, he's toured it with an Oklahoma neck pillow for all the plane rides, and he shows it in every single time that he's at an airport. So Oklahoma is definitely one of the top schools for him. So I don't know if they're going O'Neal Coleman or Coleman O'Neal, or whoever goes first can take that spot. Helaman Kasuga is a guy that had been talking a whole lot about Oregon. He loved Marcus Mariota growing up. USC was in there, but now Auburn has offered. So that's an interesting one. Troy Hune is definitely an interesting one. He told me at the Steve Clarkson retreat that he probably would not go to a school with another quarterback committed. But then Texas is very Texas had been very involved with him as well. So we'll see what happens there. Ryder Lyons leads the way at dual threat. That looks very much like a USC Oregon battle to the end. I still think USC has an edge there. And then someone who's been blowing up this offseason is Jonas Williams from the Midwest. So his recruitment still stays very open. So we will see how this all plays out. Again, Diabell is off the board to Texas. That is John Garcia Jr. I'm Adam Gorney for Rivals.com.